Starseed Ascension welcomes guests from a variety of backgrounds to gain perspectives, experiences, and information in the paranormal, spiritual, and ET space. We are a community of spiritual explorers who seek to help raise consciousness. And now, here's your host of Starseed Ascension, Jamie Voss Love.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Starseed Ascension. I'm your host, Jamie Voss Love, and here with me tonight is another special guest. Her name is Terri Sena, and Terri is a divinely guided channel assisting humanity in the evolution of consciousness. And she is trained as both a Stargate experience facilitator and energy codes practitioner. So as a facilitator and practitioner, she guides you through the higher dimensions to awaken your inner guidance and to connect with your true divine self. Terri is also a licensed spiritual counselor and helps run a Western esoteric mystery school guiding students on the path of light through hermetic teachings of Kabbalah, tarot, alchemy, and healing. And Terri has recently opened a meditation studio in Southern California in a town called Idlewild called Arc of Light. And Terri has been both a Stargate and energy codes facilitator and practitioner in our Starseed Ascension containers and quantum courses. And so that was very, very helpful. So we're excited to have her on tonight to walk us through some information that I know that you guys can connect with. So please welcome Terri Sena.
Hi.
Hi, Terri. Welcome.
Thanks, Jamie. It's good to be here. I always enjoy working with you. Yeah.
This 100%. Is fun. Terri, I've known you for like 5-6 years now.
Yep.
Been on this journey together. It's been a blessing, to connect with you, to work with you as a dear soul sister and friend. And, as your bio mentions, we are in the middle of a massive evolution in consciousness. And some of the listeners and viewers have been on that journey for a while, while others are kind of like, what the bleep is going on? I'm feeling exhausted. My head is hurting. I'm feeling all the feelings that I haven't felt in years that I don't want to feel. Maybe I'm noticing some magical things too, like signs, and synchronicities, and vivid dreams, and, enhanced psychic abilities. And so just, kind of the whole gamut and package. So I'm excited, Terri, that you're going to be diving into the energy codes a little bit deeper tonight. But before we do you want to just share a little bit about your journey and sort of what led you to do all of the beautiful work you're doing today?
I feel
Whatever
like
you feel called to
share. Yeah. I'm like, where do I start? So 25 years ago, I went into recovery for alcoholism and drug addiction. And I'd been in and out of rehabs multiple times, but that time something actually clicked. And it was almost as if if your viewers are familiar with the walk-in experience, it was almost as if a walk-in came in. But what I've learned is it was a higher aspect of myself that walked in. And my life suddenly changed. I had a new awareness. When you are in a 12-step program, the journey leads you to a higher power. And I was led. I couldn't get enough of God. It was just, my heart was wide open. My, soul was laid out bare. And that began the journey. And so I started, what next? Where do I go from here? And I dabbled in all types of teachings and finally then, and joined the mystery school that you mentioned. Now I help run it, and then I've been very good at listening to my internal guidance, my intuition, and I call it my inner radar. When it goes off, I know this is very important, something for me to pay attention to. And that really happened in about 2018 when I became familiar with it's called the Stargate experience. And that began a whole new shift in my life where I was open to higher dimensions and, galactic families and just a whole new world that I hadn't even tapped into. And then in 2020, when we were all, shut down through COVID, again, I was listening to Dr. Sue Morter. I'd never heard of her before. And again, that inner radar went off and I knew, oh, okay, this is something to pay attention to. And so I took her energy codes practitioner courses and just, have been led one step after another. And I now know to trust that inner guidance. I think that's a big part of this ascension process that we're all going through, is to learn to trust that and to know that that is us guiding us. And so here I am today with you, and I just am just delighted that these inner radars continue, raising me to new levels and opening to me to new, insights and teachings.
Yeah. Well, thank you for trusting your inner radar to come on the show tonight. Terri, now you mentioned
I love you. So, I love you. I love you so much. Anytime you ask me to do something, I'm there.
I'll remember that for the rest of the days. when my wild requests come up. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Terri. Thank you so much for sharing like your journey and experience, and and just what that looked like for you and felt like. It really is such an important thing to learn to trust the self. Even our central nervous system being repaired through the process, the learning to feel safe in the body, and so it works in every capacity, every part of our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual body. So I love that you shared that. And Terri, so just a quick question though about your walk-in experience. Before that happened, and I don't know if you can say definitively or not, but prior to your walk-in experience, do you think you would have been open to some of these things that that you have been exploring on your path now? Such as the galactic realms, for instance?
Probably. I've always sensed that there was more than what we see here on planet Earth. I just didn't know what that was. And I had started to, dabble a little bit into things like the Kabbalah and the tarot. And so I had an awareness of those teachings. I hadn't done a deep dive into them, but I was already starting to crack open that door a little bit, like, hey, what else is happening in the world and, in the inner planes. And so I'm sure that helped that walk-in experience be much easier than had I, gone kicking and screaming.
Yeah. 100%. Did you have any kind of physical sensations or changes that you noticed?
Well, I was, like I said, I was, in my addiction and had, it's a typical walk-in experience. I'd hit the bottom of all bottoms, just didn't want to go on with life, ready, contemplating suicide, truly contemplating it, and not even contemplating it, like planning it, like these are the next steps. And I was homeless and had jobless, lost my children, lost almost all my friends. And I just remember sitting on a curb, on a street in the city of Orange, and just, said, okay, whoever, I'm ready to go. I'm going now. And I felt this overwhelming love kind of overtook me, and it felt as if someone had picked me. Well, I have not really talked about this. This is kind of fun. So it's like a being, or Christ, or whoever had literally picked me up and put me on their back and were carrying me forward, is what the sensation felt like. And I then went into a blackout and woke up in a recovery home very far away from where that experience happened, probably 30 miles away. I came out of a blackout sitting inside of a recovery home, not remembering how I got there, and the recovery home staff explained I just walked in. I had no, luggage or belongings. And I had told them a story of, I just got released from jail, and so I have nowhere to go. And I wasn't coming, I was coming from the jail of addiction, but, I wasn't, I hadn't been locked up. And so and then when I came out of the blackout, I was so confused. I had no idea where I was or how I had gotten there. And it was scary, actually. And so, these people took very good care of me that first night. And, little by little each day, it was almost like I was trying to remember how to use my physical body. I remember sitting in one of the rehab vans and literally like, what do I do with my arms? Where do I put my feet? I remember having those questions and thinking, how come I don't know these things? I've been in cars before. And so it was just a gradual merging process that happened.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Terri. I can definitely, relate to those feelings. And my heart goes out to you, and, walking through sort of that dark night, and connecting with the light in that way is just so beautiful. Do you feel, when you kind of reflect back on that time, is that something that has allowed you to develop, or not to develop, but to connect with people just on that deeper level of compassion and understanding of what they may be feeling if they're going through challenging times?
Definitely. Yeah. Because I was
very shamanic.
I was there, in their walking in their footsteps, and and it's at that point where I try to help others, and sometimes people can hear what I'm saying and other times they can't, and I just know we're all on our journey wherever we're supposed to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So you talked to us a little bit about just some of the physical I think that when we're going through some of these solar changes, we're continuously going through physical ascension symptoms, I would say, and emotional ascension symptoms, and that correlates to the work that you're doing now as well with the energy codes, and how my understanding that they assist us in moving through limited belief structure, which can sort of while those limited beliefs are in place, they block us from kind of living our best life, or the reality we choose to desire, enlightenment, however you want to perceive that to be.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through a little bit about what those are and how they work?
The energy codes were developed by Dr. Sue Morter. there is a book called The Energy Codes that goes into more detail about the process. But basically, she's got 5 truths. One is everything is energy, including yourself. 2 is we create our life is a reflection of our energy. So people will say, I don't really know where I'm at, or I don't know what I'm feeling. But if you take a picture of your environment, your relationships, that gives you a good snapshot of what your energy does look like. And then
is that similar to you as the Hermetic principles of as above, so below?
As above, so below. Yeah. And that's, one of the easiest ways to change your life is to change your, not only your thinking, but your feeling, your language, your experiences, what you do, in your daily life. And just as you start to expand all that, the outpouring of your life begins to change. So, and then another truth is that that you are the creator of your life, and that your creations, your life is always expanding, and that the true purpose of your life is to discover your creatorship. So many of us, go through life feeling like a victim. I didn't, this person wasn't nice to me, or, I didn't get that job or that relationship or whatever the situation is, when really we are creating these experiences, we're creating these situations. And that's probably one of the hardest things when I work with people, is for them to accept that that's even a possibility. I've heard it so many times over the years. Oh, I would never have chosen this life. No, there's no way. I would not have chosen these parents. And the reality is you did, and you are. And so once you can get to that level of acceptance, you can start to change your life more in alignment with what you really would like it to be, than being a victim of circumstances.
I'm guilty of being a victim of circumstance. Like there's like
we all are.
Before and after.
Yeah. I mean, we all are. It's normal. It's our society has trained us to be this way for eons. So, these changes that we're going through as humanity, to becoming more aware of our creatorship, these changes aren't going to happen, on a grand scale overnight, because, it's taken a long time for us as a society to get where we're at. But, it starts one person at a time. So the energy codes, the concept with those 5 truths basically is, you are your higher self, whatever you want to call that. Some people call it higher genius, higher guardian angel. But, basically what it is, for those that are newer, it's an aspect of yourself that is just energetically much bigger than your physical beingness. And so that higher self that is you, and that's the part that, for me, once I really got that it was like, oh, it's not, my higher self isn't separate from me, because that's what I thought for years. Oh, it's my higher self. And even then you still kind of feel like a victim, like, whoa, I don't have a say in this because my higher self is guiding this. And then, it was in the energy.
You're down here going, higher self.
Higher self. Oh, where are you? What are you doing? And it was through the energy code work that I actually understood that my higher self is me. My energy is me. If I'm having a day and my vibration is low and constricted, that is me. That's not my energy. My energy is me. And so once it just kind of shifts your perception that, oh, I am creating all of this. And so the energy codes help you to understand that this higher nature that you are is always working through you, through your circuitry, which is the your chakra system down through the earth, and then the torus field that is always, so your energy is always coming down through the earth, back up and around in a kind of a torus field. And it's just this constant flow of energy that is always happening, whether you're aware of it or not. And when you are in direct alignment with that higher aspect of yourself, your life just flows. You're able to stay more in your heart. You're able to stay in your body, in the present moment, and follow those things like your intuition and your guidance. It's when we get stuck in our limiting beliefs, which, we all have them. And even, if you try to get rid of them all, it's nearly impossible, because as soon as you get rid of one, more come flowing in. But it's these limiting beliefs that we've been taught, by our parents, our school system, societal norms. That's what kind of, in the energy codes, they call it the gunk, gets stuck in these torus energy fields, and it creates a wobble in our system, in our circuitry, and our energy. And so it's then that we have to work to align ourselves back to that perfect place where our energy is always flowing clearly in alignment with our higher aspects. And that's where the wobbles, they, in the energy codes, they call it the wobbles of your energy. That's where disease comes in, and health issues. And because you're not in alignment, you're not flowing as your perfect divine nature. And so it's kind of, the energy codes do get into, it's fun. They have a big chart, kind of, those that have been around a while. If you remember Louise Hay, the, body, mind, spirit, she always, if you have a headache, the meaning is, the metaphysical meaning is something else. And so in the energy codes, same concept, that the different parts of your body that need healing are, because you're stuck, you have this gunk in your energy system, in alignment a lot with your chakras. So, if I'll just use, if you've got migraines, well, your third eye chakra has a wobble. The energy around has a wobble, and so she gets it into helping you understand how you can clear and those wobbles and get back into alignment with your true self.
Definitely. And Terri, you had mentioned this before, I believe, but as we work on ourselves, that helps the morphic field, as I understand, and helping others move through the process.
That's the beauty of the real spiritual work that we can do. David Hawkins, Dr. Hawkins, Power versus Force, his book explains this better than I can. But basically, we are all connected through a morphic field, all of humanity. And when one person, if I do something that I can raise my consciousness, raise my vibration, I help pull up the morphic field. I help pull up all of humanity. And so when you work on yourself, you're helping people around the globe that you'll never even meet, but you know, it's very powerful to be in service to humanity in that manner. Um, and just, that's why I think the earth is we are accelerating much quicker now, or ascending much quicker now, is because so many of us are working on ourselves and raising our vibrations, that we're pulling up humanity, those that, whether they know it or not, that they're being pulled up, they are. And without them having to do any work, which is fine, they'll get there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And definitely want to continue exploring this and diving deeper. That said, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
The UNX Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Kathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes, made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the UNX Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
Unlock the mysteries of the spirit realm with the new book, Meeting Wallace. In this channeled work by renowned psychic medium Larry Costa, the reader will delve into the profound wisdom of his spirit guide, Wallace. Together, they share the transformative journey of harnessing psychic powers from the celestial plane. Discover the extraordinary psychic gifts that have empowered Larry on his path, and immerse yourself in a thought-provoking and awe-inspiring read. Meeting Wallace is a groundbreaking endeavor, and it is a perspective seen through the eyes of a spirit guide. Discover the wisdom of the spirit realm alongside actual photographs of ghosts and spirit guides. Get the book Meeting Wallace by Larry Costa at Amazon.com.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to Starseed Ascension. We have here tonight with us guest Terri Sena, and we were just talking about just how working on yourself or going through the process helps the morphic field, which helps all of humanity in a sense. So please welcome back Terri Sena. And Terri, so, I was thinking about this over the break. I work with psilocybin, as you know, and so one of the things about psilocybin is that the mycelium connects the neural networks or the networks, across the board. And same thing with working with the psilocybin. It actually works with our neural pathways to repair or restore back to the natural pathways. And kind of how I look at it is the program pathway. It kind of re-engineers the design. So it feels like, in a sense, the energy codes are sort of restoring you back to your original blueprint or pathway. Would you say that's accurate?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. It does. It's the practices that the book, excuse me, gets into are, we live so much in our mind. It's just the way we've been taught. And
Sure.
So we try to think our way out of everything. And in thinking our way, we cause more disruption in our energy fields. And so when you can come back and align and drop back into your body and into that central channel, it allows that repair of, your neurosystem, and allows you to, simplify your life, really, rather than always being in your mind, dropping down into your heart and just, loving and breathing, and allowing, the flow of your higher aspect to guide you into, like you said, the original blueprint. One of the discussions that the energy codes gets into, though, is they call it the bus stop theory. It's been called different things, but it's basically the concept that, as souls, when we're getting ready to incarnate into, on Earth, we go to the bus stop to catch the bus to come to Earth. And at the bus stop, we're, having conversations with the others that are there. And, oh, what are you going to Earth this time for? What are you hoping to experience? And, if someone says, well, I really want to experience forgiveness in this, this lifetime, but I need someone to assist me with that. And at the bus stop, I might say, I'll help you with that. Because in order to experience forgiveness, something has to have happened for you to forgive. And so
Sure.
it's that like sacred contract that you have before you come in with someone or a group of someone's, so that you can have that experience, that human, whatever it is, emotion. And so, that's also part of the original blueprint. Well, and that's it's a little more challenging to understand that, just by clearing, your pathways doesn't mean your life is going to be perfect and, no more challenges are going to show up. It more means you're on the path that you chose for this lifetime, and the path becomes more clear in that co-creatorship, rather than, I'm directed over here and then over here and, whatever it is. And so that's always an interesting concept to me, that idea of, we make these sacred contracts with people before we come in. and it's often the people in our lives that we struggle the most with are the ones that we have these special contracts, because we all are divine beings. We all come from the same quantum field. So it's, we've all been the bad guy, we've all been the good guy. And that part is just kind of mind-boggling when you're actually in the human experience, having that experience, to remember, oh yeah, my father is abusive, but we have that contract that, I knew this was going to happen coming in for me to, learn to, forgiveness or compassion for what, his situation or whatever it was. And so, the human nature, we're very complex beings, and, trying to understand what's happening here and how we can just make our better situation of our lives.
Yeah. So would you say then, Terri, based on that, is it a blend then of like conscious creation prior to incarnating in the human experience and what we actually create when we're in the human experience?
Yes, yes, and yes. I think it's both. Again, we are so complex, and there's so many, that we can go much deeper, but there's, for every choice and decision you make, you've created a new timeline for yourself. And all these timelines are happening at the same time. And so somewhere in there, you've got the contract that you're coming in with. Plus, you've also got these day-to-day creatorship experiences that you're having. And so it's just we're such multi-dimensional beings, and we think we're just this little 3D, package here. And that's a limiting belief, to think that, we just that we are these 3D beings. It's that the same concept of what you were just asking me, Jamie. In the quantum field, whenever something happens, it changes everything. And so, it's just so complex. So yes, we're creating all the time, either in, we're always in collaboration with our higher aspect. It's just sometimes we're conscious of it, and sometimes it's more of our subconscious taking over.
Sure. So Terri, I know the photonic process, and the photons that come through as part of this. Anything to add on, just the trajectory of the solar activity? Is that a part of these energy codes in the process, how it flows through the body?
Um,
Or do you feel like it's something separate?
I think I'm sure there's an aspect of it in there, but that the actual energy code teachings doesn't really get into that. It gets into, like I said, more of your belief systems and your subconscious limiting beliefs, and how those are affecting your life and your energy fields, and the ways to change those.
Sure. So in your opinion,
rather than these outside influences affecting us.
Sure. So do you feel that, in your opinion, is everybody going through this in a sense, or some people haven't begun the process, or what do you feel?
I feel everyone's going through it. Just all of humanity. The planet Earth itself is ascending and moving through the galaxies, and so just by nature of we're on this Earth, we're being affected. I think more people are becoming aware of what's happening, because we are having all these strange ascension symptoms, and so we're doing research, and we're trying to find out what is happening, and because these spiritual teachings are becoming much more mainstream, um, they do come across a website or a chat that explains about, such as the planet shifting, and as we continue to go from this 3D experience through where we're headed, which is right now up through the 4D and the 5D, you can't help but not be affected. It's just a matter of taking better care of yourself. I think for so long, especially in the United States, we are so driven, we have to do. And these ascension symptoms are really hitting us hard, where it's time for us to slow down and rest and take care of ourselves. But that goes against, a lot of us, what we've been taught. And, I work, I also work with the Stargate experience. And the favorite saying there is, there's nothing to do. You just relax and allow,
Right.
because these experiences, these ascension symptoms are going to happen whether you want them to or not. There's really no getting away from them. And so the less you struggle against them and just, nothing to do and relax and just take care of yourself, it makes the process much easier.
So in that way, it's sort of just, like you said, just allowing the shift to occur naturally, like as an organic process, so to speak.
Yeah, I think so. And there are times, I'll have something going on and I'm like, wow, I must be really sick, or I'm going crazy, or, and then you'll check in with others and find out, oh, they're all going through it too. And so, that's when you have this awareness, oh, there's something bigger happening here than, what we're used to.
Definitely. Yeah. And so, from my perspective, mentioning the solar flares, because as I understand the energetic codes, there's photons that are always out there, right? Creating these experiences that are flowing through our energy field. And, it's light, and light is information, and giving us memories, perhaps awakening dormant DNA within the body. Yeah. And so like those have been increasing. So maybe perhaps people that weren't as sensitive or aware before may have an increase in that. So just an observation. But I wanted to ask you, Terri, because you mentioned that we go through this process individually, and and so migraines, for example, third eye could have a blockage, and we look at all these different charts, and there's Louise Hay has one, Dolores Cannon has one, everybody has a different kind of chart, and it's interesting, it's fascinating, because they tend to be oh, that makes sense, right? And so my question would be, do you feel, because there are people, even as yourself, that are working energy fields and working with energy fields consciously, do you feel that there is also transmuting that's occurring for the collective, or for just maybe perhaps we have contracts or agreements with each other to help each other remember by way of these?
Oh, definitely. I think we're transmuting quite a bit. And it collectively, we make contracts collectively, especially in these times. I know I have a big soul family group that are, reincarnating Essenes from, back in the, before the time of Christ. And a lot of us are back again. We made this choice to be here at this time to assist with the ascension of the planet and to help bring in, the golden era. Some call it the New Jerusalem or the New Earth. And so these contracts, we are transmuting a lot. We're helping one another. Not only are we collectively finding each other, which is always fascinating to me. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and somehow we find our soul tribe. That we are helping one another in the group transmute, and as well as individually, the collectively, all of humanity. And then we have star families that, if we want to get even deeper, what we do here on Earth affects them as well, because we are all interconnected in the quantum fields. And so it's not just us that's transmuting energy. It's we're affecting the other systems in the galaxies. They're shifting and changing, which affects us. And so it's a bigger picture, really.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the law of one, or just we're going intergalactic.
We're going intergalactic, yes, which is exciting.
I love it. Yeah, so it's not just we're all connected. We're all connected to everything, right? All the universes, all of the cosmos. So you mentioned you were talking about Christ, and wondered what your interpretation or perception is of Christ consciousness. What that means to you.
It means, well, I feel we all are divine beings, regardless of, again, the good guy, who's playing the good guy, bad guy this lifetime. We all are divine beings. And the Christ consciousness, to me, is having that awareness that you have divinity within you, and allowing that divinity to express itself more fully in your life and in your experience.
I love that.
Is the way.
I love how you look at that. Good. Whether you perceive somebody to be good or bad, all comes from source, kind of thing.
All comes from source. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're all God. Which is heavy sometimes. Yeah, we're all God. Having, our God experience.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit too about, these energy codes, which is very beautiful and fascinating, can help rewire and build new circuitry. Now, as I understand too, when you have trauma, you can tend to do like a fight or flight, even fawning response, and sometimes we may resort to methods of escape, and so that might pause, in a sense, the rebuilding of the new circuitry. And I remember this came up before in a past presentation. So that being said, do you think that it's about the sort of choice to come into alignment, or the pattern of just loving the self-love and acceptance, or is it a combination of both?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. Trauma has so many aspects to it that it's hard to just put that in a box and say this is trauma. I think when we do have trauma, it's when we finally get to that part of our experience where it's just so painful that we just can't deal with it anymore. That's when we start loving, actually most of us researching, and we learn to love ourselves, and we learn to accept ourselves as we are. The energy codes go through the different chakras, and for each chakra they give a breathing pattern to use to clear that chakra and to clear the gunk from the energy field that's near that chakra. And so breath is so important. I think with trauma, meditation, just breathing, getting quiet with yourself, and just going within, and like you said, loving and accepting who you are as you are is so important.
Definitely. So I think you may have already answered this, but is there a defined number of limited belief systems that you go into, or is it just like
no,
infinite?
that's infinite. That's infinite. And like I said, it's all kinds of things. The concept that as we get older, our bodies deteriorate. That's a limiting belief. There's so many studies out now. The Stargate experience calls it youthing, where when you start to watch your language, and you can actually repair your circuitry, like you were explaining, in a way that your body starts to youth rather than get older and deteriorate. So that's a limiting belief that we all have, I think, or the majority of us. Limiting beliefs such as I have to work hard and get an education to succeed. That's a limiting belief that is instilled usually through our families and our school system.
Sure. Or work a gazillion years before you can enjoy life.
Yeah, exactly. And even things, physics such as gravity, that's a limiting belief. There are the swamis and the gurus in India that will tell you they don't, to them, gravity is very much of a limiting belief.
You're saying we can fly.
We can levitate. Yeah, that we can. Well, again, the Stargate experience, the Stargate, I keep mentioning it, but it's a sacred geometrical structure that anchors in higher dimensional consciousness. But even that is a teleportation device that at some point humanity will be ready to accept, because that's a limiting belief we have now, that there's no way, that's just not possible. Yeah.
And Terri, speaking of, because we're just about up on time here, can you just give us a very quick overview of Stargate? You don't have to go into the history, but just
yeah,
Stargate, how it benefits us.
The Stargate, when you do a guided meditation, elevates your consciousness up from a 3D environment up to a 12D, which is where you have more palpable access to the quantum fields. And that's where higher dimensional beings, it's easier for them to come in and work with us, heal DNA patterns, or heal limiting beliefs. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that occur through the Stargate work.
I love it. Well, thank you, Terri, and we'll have to have you back to go over the Stargate, because that's a whole episode for sure.
Yeah, that's its own.
To dive into. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you, Jamie.
We'll take a dive into the Stargate. Yeah. So Terri, you can find out more though about the Stargate and the energy codes at arcoflight.org, and we'll keep Terri's contact information as well. We'll put that in there. And yeah, so thank you for joining us on this week's journey through the unseen. And until next time, stay curious, stay open, and may your spirit find peace in the mysteries of the universe. Thank you for joining.